Ursula von der Leyen does not get to play God and chose who lives and who dies. Everything that is bad about the EU, everything every Brexiteer warned against, everything that is wrong about lumbering, oversized, and increasingly dictatorial bureaucracies is being played out right before our eyes this week in Brussels' shameful, spiteful response to a cock-up entirely of its own making. You have guessed I'm talking about the fact that EU forgot to order any COVID vaccine. No, it's worse than that. It wasn't just a failure of oversight, or even the glacially slow decision-making, held up inevitably by the EU's sheer size and overwhelming control freakery, but Brussels actually effectively stopped the member states from saving their own citizens' lives. Member states were effectively banned from sourcing their own COVID vaccines lest it reflect badly on the EU's notion of itself as a benign superstate, and of course its grip on centralised control. Oh, and so a French vaccine would be commercially favoured over the British one. That's the one that doesn't work, by the way. Astonishingly, Germany quietly secured a stash of vaccine for itself. More astonishingly, Mrs. Merkel is sitting on that stash until all EU nations have received their allotted doses instead of getting it into German arms. You probably don't need to be a trained epidemiologist to conclude many human beings might die as a result of these particularly mindless pieces of adherence to one EU dogma. It's all so terrible that when all this is over, the EU's conduct should be properly investigated as the crime it so obviously looks like to the man on the Essen omnibus. Dogma is the enemy of good politics. Indeed, of any good decision-making. And this awful scandal is proof, were any further proof needed, of why Britain was right to cut ties with this now, by definition, dangerous organization. And it gets worse. Today we learn that our friends in Brussels intend to consign more people to an early death by banning, or severely restricting, exports of any and all COVID vaccine from the EU. And the people who will die this time are likely to be British. Some might see that as tantamount to an act of war. And it would be hard not to have some sympathy with that view. Here's the thing. Whatever the hue of your politics, it is clear that Britain anticipated the vaccine need better and acted faster than the EU. We got to the front of the queue. The fact AstraZeneca now has production problems is unfortunate, but frankly it's the EU's problem. Admittedly, not much of this seems fair, in that cut and dried way we British admirers of cricket appreciate.